This too shall pass. We get so trapped sometimes in a moment or a situation, right? That you're just like, how am I going to get out of this? You get all worked up. And then I have to tell myself, this is a temporary situation. This too shall pass. You'll get through it. You always do. Don't stress so hard about it. Just think it through and it'll be gone.
Welcome to the Live, Love, Survive, Thrive podcast that helps you embrace life's challenges, grow through adversity, and discover your true potential. I'm your host, Dr. Kimberly Hubinet, anti-aging dentist, widow, author, and inspirational coach. I live by the Can I philosophy, constant and never-ending improvement, and I'm here to help you do the same. Each week, we'll dive into real conversations, powerful stories, and practical tools to help you heal, grow, and thrive. Whether you're rebuilding after loss or ready to step into a more purposeful life, this space is for you. Let's grow, evolve, and thrive together. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the next episode of Live, Love, Survive, and Thrive. This is your host, Dr. Kimberly Hubinet, and I'm here today with a really special friend of mine. We've known each other for over 30 plus years. We went to dental school together, and she is a great friend. Every time we see each other, it's like no time passes by.
That is so true.
And her name is Dr. Monica Parham. And, I don't know if people have seen you on TV or anything, but we saw you on the Golden Bachelor recently. And,
Yes.
I'm so proud of you because
Oh,
you
thanks,
told
honey.
your story. And
I did.
she's a widow also, and so she's living life to the fullest now. And with my podcast called Live, Love, Survive, Thrive, this is the
Love it.
epitome. So, Monica, tell my listeners about you.
Oh, guys, I have such a big, long story. I don't even know where to start. You know me, Kim, so well. I'm originally from Tupelo, Mississippi, and I got a scholarship to attend our school, University of Southern California. Woohoo, Trojan. And I had no clue. I had never flown on an airplane. I had never really been out of Mississippi much. So it was quite the leap of faith. And I've been known to do that a time or two. So I accepted the scholarship and packed up everything I had. My family, they were all so distraught over the whole thing, but it was the best thing that ever
How
happened to me.
old were you?
Got to meet you. It was back in 1987. So I don't know. It was a long time ago. Gosh, we're getting
Yeah.
old, Kim. Honey, we're getting old, girl.
I remember you saying you had never gotten on an airplane.
Yes, I know. You and I were in the same lab, so we were together all the time. Anyway, so it was quite the adventure, and living in downtown LA was an adventure in of itself, as you know. But we had an amazing time. I met all you beautiful people, and I ended up finishing my undergrad and then graduate with you. And then I did a 2-year general practice residency at the West LA VA Hospital. I was chief resident second year. So I was very, very busy. And then I met my boy's dad there in LA at school. And he's originally from the DC area. So after I graduated dental school and then did my residency, we got married. And then his family's originally from the DC area. So we moved back, raised the two boys there. I was in Maryland for 23 years, and I opened my own dental practice, built it from the ground up, and that was another, thing for me. I'm misadventurous, I did that, and which looking back now, I'm like, how did I do that? How do we do these things, as women? And then I had the 2 boys, and I also have my own dental practice. I'd get there at the crack of dawn, sometimes not leave till late and have to go pick up the boys, bring them back to the office. And it was a lot, looking back. After a few years, we were married about 15 years and things happen in life, as we know, things happen in life. And we ended up getting divorced. It was a very difficult time in my life and for the boys. But then I was so blessed beyond measure. God sent me the most beautiful, amazing man. His name was Jerry George, and he was an implant specialist, also in our dental field. And he was just such a blessing. He was such an amazing father to my boys, and they learned so much from him. And it was the first time in my life I ever felt like I could be me. It's really interesting how sometimes we live our lives, always trying to please other people or being who we think they want us to be. And it was the first time in my life I ever felt so free. It was just such a beautiful union, he and I together. He loved me so much to my core and accepted everything about me, and I him, and we just had the most beautiful, beautiful life together. And then God had other plans, and he passed away during COVID in 2021. We had moved down here south. I promised my parents, let me back up just a second. I promised my parents when I became an empty nester that I moved back south to take care of them. So here I am in Birmingham, Alabama, 2 hours away from my parents, but my brother and sister-in-law live here too, my niece and nephew. So we were living here. We had such a great life here too. And then COVID hit, and then I lost him during COVID. He was my best friend, the love of my life. And it was a really, really, difficult time on myself. He had his own 4 children, then I have my 2 boys, and he was kind of the backbone of our families. And it was very devastating for all of us. But you know what? I would not give anything for that time I spent with him. I learned so much about life, myself. My boys were so fortunate that they had such an incredible role model in him. And there's very few people sometimes I feel like, just from talking to other people, that you really get that kind of love in your life. And I know, Kim, you had that too. You lost your husband as well. But I'm still so blessed beyond measure. Initially it was the most heart wrenching. I think I stayed in my husband's closet for the first 3 months after he died.
What
I
do you
think
mean you stayed? You sat in it?
yeah, I stayed in there for hours and hours. I couldn't go to work for about 3 months. And it was just that devastating, for me. And I would pray a lot. And of course, my friends would come over, my family, and they would try to talk, but then I'd go right back to the closet, where his clothes were. And it was a really rough time because then I'm thinking all the plans that we make in our life, right? And then life happens completely different than what you hope or expect. And then after, I guess, just spending so much time and praying and listening to myself, I was like, you know what? I have got to reinvent myself. Sometimes, with Jerry, he could, because he was so amazing, and I just put everything I had into him and our relationship. And then when he was gone, I just was there thinking, what am I going to do now? How am I going to come out of this ever? At the time, you look at it and think, I am never, ever going to be able to get out of this situation. That's what I was thinking, the first couple of months. And then just through a lot of prayer and just really, really digging deep inside myself, I was like, you know what? Jerry would not want this. He celebrated everything about me. And I started thinking, you know what? If I could at least bring myself out of this and share with others who are also grieving, who have been through, there's so many people that I know that have been through similar situations. If I can just help or just be there to be a listening ear or understand what they're going through, because it took me, quite a while to, and you're not ever completely past it. You know what I mean? They're always there, and
Mm-hmm.
they're always right there, and he'll always be a part of me for the rest of my life, but in a good way. So I feel he was so positive and upbeat and inspiring that I started, thinking about how he was and how he would be so proud of me if I would to move forward and be my best self, because that's what he always celebrated is, who I was, and, which made me so much, I felt like a better person. He made me a better person. Of course, he would say that to me, that I made him a better person, but that's why it's such a blessing. But, hey, guess what? I know now what it's like to have that true love in your life, that so many people search for and wish for and hope for. So even though we were only together about 15 years, it was just the most amazing experience of my life. And so now, when I move forward now, I have this new lease on life, like, "I'm just gonna go now. I have already had the love of my life, you know, I'm just gonna go and enjoy the rest of my life, and if someone says, 'Let's go skydiving,' I'm gonna sign me up. I'm going. You know, 'Do you wanna go travel to Europe and stay 2 or 3 months?' Yes, I'm ready to go," you know, so I have this new look at life, you know, because it is very fleeting, it's very short, you know, in the whole grand scheme of things. And I am just ready to live my life, and I guess the whole thing with the TV show, the really cute thing about the whole TV show situation, my dental assistant, she was like, "Dr. Parham, can I have some updated pictures of you?" And I was like, "Oh, is it for a website?" She goes, "No." I said, "Oh, what's it for?" She goes, "Well, I sent some photos of you in." She goes, "I stole them off your Facebook."
Oh, no.
She said, "I did this whole write-up about you." I'm like, "Where did you send this to?" And she's like, "Well, Dr. Parham, I'm trying to help you out." She goes, "Your life is so boring. You work like a dog. You go do Pilates after work." And she said, "You take tons of vitamins. You have all this energy. And then you go take care of parents every weekend." She goes, "You need some spice in your life." Like, "What you signed me up for?" And she's like, "The Golden Bachelor." I'm like, "What?" And she said, "You know, it's that dating show for old people." Girl, first of all, I am not old, you know, and I was like, "Second of all, what?" Like, go on a dating show? Oh my gosh, I felt my face, you know, turn beet red, and, you know, I've dated so very few people my whole life. I was like, "I can't do that, I can't do that." And she goes, "Yes, you can." And I was like, "Alyssa, I can't do that." "Oh, yes, you can." So we had this little fight back and forth, and then everyone in the office was like, "Dr. Parham, you have to do this. What a wonderful opportunity." And actually, the Golden Bachelor people who I interviewed with, they were all so amazing, wonderful. They were precious, and, you know, they make you feel good about yourself. And I guess they had like 76,000 applicants, and they only picked 23 ladies. So
Well, you're
I said,
beautiful, Monica. You are such a beautiful friend inside and out,
"Thank you,
always.
honey." Oh,
Always thinking
well,
about
you know
other
I love you,
people.
honey. Yes.
Yeah,
Oh.
you they picked the perfect person. Thank you.
You're so sweet. Well, I tell you what, one thing for sure, I made some of the best new girlfriends. Now, you're gonna always be right here, Kim, deep in my heart, but I did meet some new girlfriends, and they're all spectacular women. I think the show did an incredible job at seeking out all 23 of us. We're all, you know, it was very interesting. Quite a few of us are very, very similar people, very loving, giving. You know, we actually had a little prayer group going on. I mean, it was just, they're just beautiful people. It was just really nice to hear their stories, and then all of us being 60 or over, because I am 60 now, so crazy to say, but, you know, right here is stronger than the rest of us, so in your mind, you know, in my mind, I'm still back in our dental school days, Kim.
Yeah.
Let's go snow skiing, all right?
Yeah.
Like we used to, and all the parties we had, it was so fun. But hearing their stories and being with these ladies, and it is really difficult at our age, you know, 16 over, to date. And it made me feel a little bit better because, okay, let's go back because I didn't think I was ready to date at all. I have been seeing someone, though, on and off that I had known since he was 19 years old. So I do have someone that I have been seeing, and he's really, really helped me see too that I can, you know, move forward. And the show has really, really helped me too. You know, just being with those ladies and learning so much from them. And they're also accomplished, they're super bright, they're driven and beautiful. And we all feel the same way. You know, our age group is really difficult. You know, most everyone's married, been married for a long time, and everyone's already set up in their families and their grandkids. And it's a tough time in our lives to be dating, and everyone's kinda having the same experience. You know, it's hard to really find someone, you know, to date, and at first for me, it was probably one of the hardest things I ever did, and like I said, the guy that I do see, he lives about 3 hours away in Tennessee, but he's been very helpful to me to ease me into the dating thing again, and but it's difficult, Kim, and it was hard for me to move forward, but I knew I had to bring myself out of this situation, you know, and live life because, you know, it's not just about living it, but I like the way you with your podcast, not only that, to thrive and survive, This is the only life we get. We only have this one opportunity. And you know what? We have to make the decision in our life to move forward. No one can do that for us. And we can't just keep trying to live in the past and this and we can't. We have to make the conscious decision to move forward and try to
Remember
approach.
the day that happened to you? Like, what really broke the camel's back that you said, "I'm not gonna live one more day like this again"? What really happened? Was there something that really made you decide?
Well, I had a couple of my girlfriends, that I would talk to. My girlfriend in California, the one that lives in Dana Point, Lily, she's a dentist, down in Orange County, and I talked to her a lot, and my boys, and even my stepkids, my husband's kids, they were pleading with me to move forward, that it's okay, and I don't know, I think for me, I keep saying I was in the closet. It sounds terrible. It sounds, pathetic. I'm not trying to make anyone feel sorry for me, but something deep inside me just said, "You've got to stop this," because I think it was taking me a while. And, in the beginning, I was just like, God, just take me too. I was that close to Jerry, like, why? How am I going to live the rest of my life without him? So I think I just got so deep in the depths of despair on my own in that closet. And I told you I was just praying and I was crying and it kept going on and on. And finally, I was just like, I had to make a conscious decision to bring myself out. I mean, I think through the power of prayer too, God helping me, and I just think that I just made up my mind. But I always told myself to, no matter what, I want to honor Jerry for the rest of my life because I feel like just the spirit of him too helped me because he loved life too, and he was such an amazing man and positive and good Christian man. I think he's a big part of it, and I always wanna honor him by everything that I do, and, I never will forget him or he's always there because I'm just so grateful to him that he gave me that kinda love in this life. Because so many people don't get that, Kim. I know you know that too. You were so close to your husband, just like I was with mine, and we're so blessed, right, that we got that.
And
That
I
was
remember that first 3 months, like, I reached out to you a few times, but
you did. Yes, you
and
did.
I
I barely could talk to
you were
anybody.
really struggling.
Oh, it was really bad, honey. And I think that was the worst time in my entire life. I have never, because I still have my parents alive. My mom's 94, my dad's 86. I still have my parents. No one that close to me has ever passed away. No one. And for him, my best friend, the love of my life, my everything. That's the way I felt about him. We were just so connected.
One other question that I had for you is that you said that what are some unexpected gifts that emerged from your loss and your struggle?
My unexpected gifts, probably more than anything, were just the relationships with my boys and just to have their support and their love. For me, I still have to be my best self for them. Even though I lost Jerry, I still had to be my best self for them. And I knew that they were going to be such a big part of, I mean, not that they were unexpected by any means, but they got me through it also. But I guess unexpected in the sense that they were just so close to Jerry too, like I was, and unexpectedly, they were just so pro me and Monica, Jerry would want you to move forward and you have to my girlfriends would say that Monica, Jerry loved you so much and everything, but he wants you to move forward, and I think with that and then there was a couple of other things that I guess were unexpected, I had a lot of my staff members, and all their support but yeah.
I remember when this happened to me and Mark passed away, I didn't wanna get out of bed. I
Mm-mm.
actually didn't even wanna take a shower or anything,
Well,
right?
that was me 3
And
months ago. Mhm.
But when I forced myself to go to work, I had to go to work because I was my only breadwinner, and I was thinking to myself, "I have 9 staff members that depend on me
Mhm.
for their livelihood, and I better get my act together
That's
because
right.
I'm
Mhm.
failing them and
That's
my
right.
kids,"
That's
right?
right.
You
That's
have
so
to
true,
see
Kim.
kind of Yes, tell me about that. How did that
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. When you have all these other people, especially when you're in the situation that we're in, we're doctors, right? And not only do we have the responsibility to our staff members, but our patients. Our patients love us I mean, for me, my patients are like my family too. And they miss us and they need us too. So you're right. And it's difficult though that we have this accountability, but at the same sense, that's what helps pulls us out of the this despair, to make us get up and take that shower, to finally put ourselves together and try to put our best face on. My dental hygienist, she just lost her long-term boyfriend. I mean, well, they were pretty much engaged, but they've been together about almost 10, 12 years, and he just passed away a few weeks ago. But you know what? She came back to work in 1 week. And
Wow.
you know what, though, that I saw that about, and she still had her moments, but I really, really admire her because she can pull it together. But I think it helped her not just be stuck at home, just in agony the whole time. And I said, Kim, you're such an inspiration. I said, I really, she goes, I had to. She goes, I had to come back to work. She said, staying at home. She said, I would never want to move or do anything. She just, all she could just think about her boyfriend, and it was awful. So and his was all of a sudden death too. So even though it took me I missed about 3 months of work. But it's good too for you that you did have that. See, there's a lot of people that don't have that support system or that in their background to drive them to really move forward. And I really empathize with them because if I didn't have that too, like that would have been even more reason I just want to stay here, never leave. When I say I stay in the closet, sometimes I would sleep there, with his clothes. Because, when you get in the bed, you don't want to. Being in the bed by yourself isn't the same as it used to. You know what I mean? I have my body pillow and then I have my golden doodle who I have to, he's been like my best friend since my husband has passed. But yeah, so you understand. You and I have such similar stories. Yeah, you have a big staff. How long were you out, Kim?
Well, for me, I was out for a week and a half,
Hmm.
and then I went back. Instead of 6 days a week, I went back 3 days a week, and
Oh,
that's the most I can handle.
right. Yeah.
I
That's
can't
good.
handle much more than that. I mean,
No, I know. Well, we have such a tough job anyway, right? It's a tough job. And thank goodness we love it and we love our patients and we love our team, at work. So we're very blessed that we're surrounded by that community, that we have. And I think that's it in a nutshell. You need people around you to help you come from this. It's not easy. And then, I'm sure you're like me. We have our days too when there's a little breakdown here. It's funny. My patients, I feel so close to them. Sometimes that we'll have like discussions, or maybe when my patient loses a spouse, and I have yet to get through my dream that I had. I've told so many people this dream about Jerry. I saw him in heaven in my dream, and I have almost been able to make it now. It's been almost 5 years. It'll be 5 years, August the 2nd, that he passed away. But still can't make it through telling that whole story yet. So we still have that, right? I'm sure you do too, or something comes up that just takes you back, and it's not still there, in the background. But again, I still try to be positive. I mean, you have to make the conscious decision, you can't, it's a choice too. You have to choose to be positive. You have to choose to allow yourself to move forward and understand that this is our only life that we get, and we need to help others. We need to be here to support other people and help other people get through hard times because we've had them. I think what you're doing is such a blessing. Thank you, Kim, for doing this. And your podcast is amazing because it reaches so many people, and you're helping people by letting these people know they're not alone. that we've all been there, us that are on the podcast, been here, done this, and we can show that you can move forward. It's tough, but you make a decision and you do it, and you just think positive, the whole time. So that's my new thing, I'm really being positive and trying to keep myself healthy. Early, it is a full-time job.
Yeah, what do you do to look so amazing? You look so amazing. What's your
You're so sweet.
day like? Like,
Oh my
you
gosh.
said you like supplements, you do your
My staff members have done videos and recordings of me, my team members of every day. I have my pre-vitamins and then before lunch and then after lunch I have others. I take so many supplements, girl. I take every supplement there is, I think, and I'm very big into Pilates, so I have my routine. I get up every morning about 5:30 and get myself to work, do all that. I don't eat breakfast, fast. I try to eat pretty early the night before, and I'm really on this protein kick, like everyone's trying to do their protein. So kind of into like last night I had my grilled chicken bites, but we don't have much time. Time I get off work and go to Pilates, I come home and it's 8 o'clock. I have to walk my dog, I have to do all these things. So I get the frozen ones at Target, just the ones that are no antibiotics, no hormones. The Tyson, I think they're the grilled chicken bites. I stick them in my air fryer, then I get my organic sweet potatoes that are frozen and the broccoli that also from Target's organic. I stick it in the microwave and I douse a lot of cottage cheese on my chicken. And then I'll switch it up. I'll do ground turkey or the ground grass-fed, grass-finished beef, So I'm very good about trying to no preservatives and I try not to eat anything unhealthy. Once in a while you're gonna how our patients are. They're gonna bring in, like, cookies and chips and candies and stuff, so once in a while, I have a little bite. You can't totally deny yourself. I love my dark chocolate, and I go to the gym, so I'll do my Pilates, and I try to go to the gym 2 or 3 times a week also to do weightlifting because, especially at our age, we need the weightlifting to support our joints so we don't have too much arthritis. I have a little bit. But you know what? I do a lot of collagen. I do a lot of collagen, and I do your Life Vantage that I love, and, so yeah. Everyone always makes fun of me, like, "How much money are you spending on all those supplements?" I'm like, "You don't wanna know." Very
if it
expensive, but
makes
you know
you feel
what?
good and it makes you look good, that means you're doing something right, right?
That's right, honey, yes. I do a little Botox, here and there because we can give Botox, so I give it on myself a little here and there, but
Oh,
I've never done any no plastic surgery or anything yet, but yeah, I'll do my forehead and my so I'll do my own little Botox here
one
and there.
time I was trying to do my Botox and I couldn't push the thing and I said, "Hey, Nancy, come over here. Can you push it?" Because I was just like, "Yes." So I understand because I've been there.
Yeah, I haven't had any cosmetic yet. One of the Golden Girls she just had her facelift done, and it's already looking pretty good, so maybe down the road, we'll see. I don't know about that yet, but
You don't need it yet.
I don't think I need it yet, do I?
You know?
Anyway, I have good genes, though. My mom's 94, and she still looks really good, She was just playing pickleball with us just a few years ago, so
Wow.
at 90 or 92. So she's in great shape, and, but I tell you what, that's another thing. You have to make a conscious decision, and a choice that you're going to live a healthy lifestyle. Look, that is actually one thing for sure that we can be in control of, right? Because you can't let everything else control it, with all the food and the terrible food, that's out there now and all the preservatives and all that. So I research everything to death and I make sure that all the things I'm eating or my supplementation is the real deal and it's good stuff. But we're in control of our own bodies. Our bodies are God's temple to us. We got to take care of these bodies. And again, this is our only life we're getting, right? So I'm doing my best to be as healthy as I possibly can. And it's actually been really good. I have tons of energy. I'm hardly ever tired. The girls at work are like, Dr. Parham, you run circles around us. I do. I have a lot of energy and I love what I do. Like, I love my patients so much and my team members. And I'm blessed to have such an amazing family and my boys that I adore. So awesome. Just got to have my oldest one give me a grandbaby soon and then we'll be good. I have 3 step grandbabies, and they're amazing too, but maybe my oldest soon. He's married and just bought a house, so hopefully I'll get a grandbaby girl since I had the 2 boys.
So do
Oh,
you have a special quote that you live by?
you know what? My entire life. And I think this is what got me through dental school. I think this is so silly. And everyone who knows me knows that I say this all the time. You may remember, I don't know, my whole life I have always told myself and out loud I've said, this too shall pass. That's always been my thing. Like, we get so trapped sometimes in a moment or a situation, right? That you're just like, how am I going to get out of this? How is this going to, you get all worked up. And then I have to tell myself, and also, that I have the little song in my head, the little Frozen song, let it go, but so this too shall pass. I keep telling myself, Monica, this is temporary. This is a temporary situation. This too shall pass. You'll get through it. You always do. Don't stress so hard about it. Just think it through and it'll be gone. Why are we letting ourselves get so upset? So for me, that's been like a big thing for me. This too shall pass. So that's kind of, I've lived my life by that, my whole life too. And then sometimes I have to sing Let It Go in my head, something comes up, just let it go.
And
So.
so with the name of the podcast, Live, Love, Survive, Thrive, I know that it exudes some feelings for you as well.
Mhm.
Tell the audience, what does that mean to you?
Well, for me, the love. I mean, the love, first you have to have the love for yourself, right? It's almost like put your own oxygen mask on before others, right? You have to love yourself first. And in order to do that, though, you have to do the work to make sure that you're the person that you would wanna love, right? So once you get to that point, when you love yourself and you're really working on yourself, you're always should work on yourself. You're never ever gonna get the best ever, I don't think that you think you could be. It's always something to learn and something to know. So, but the love part for me, because when you love yourself, you can really give that love to other people. This life is so full of there's a lot of hate, in the world, and I don't like that. I love all people and I'm very empathetic. I love all people and my heart is always open to everyone. Like you said, I'm a caregiver, so I love taking care of people and I love for people to feel good about themselves. I feel good about myself and I think that that makes me better able to share with others and see the beauty in them, and I have people who come into the office or whatever, and I can tell that they just don't feel good about themselves. I always try to pick out something really wonderful about them, and then I like to engage them on that. And so I love that. I love giving love to others. And again, I had the love of my life, Jerry. So I got to share a big part of my life with him. And then the survival part, the part for you to survive. Survival is pretty much sometimes, that's kind of where you get to when you're in the closet for 3 months. Come to this crossroad. It's like you're either going to survive or not survive, right? So you get to that crossroad and you just have to again make that decision that and then when you make the decision that you gotta survive, whatever that is that you've been through in your life, which you know what? Life is gonna throw us right and left curveballs all the time. There's always gonna be something. So you gotta survive these things, right? So and then when you get to the survival thing, like for me, where I got to that part, and then I had to make the decision, I have to thrive. God gives us one life, and I have got to then turn that survive into thrive. That takes a little more work. You have to be able to put yourself out there. You have to be able to go out and do things that you never would do, especially on your own. Like, I'd gone out to dinner by myself. And you know what? I kind of liked it. It was kind of fun, just things like that that I would never ever do. So life is what you're going to, and then we get to the life to live your life. You have to make all these decisions to really want to live your life and thrive. But I tell you what, you have to pull yourself out first. And you'll get to a crossroads in your life where it's up to you. No one else can pull you out of this. You have your friends and your family who are always there to support you, but until you make that decision, and that it's okay to make that decision. Some people, initially I started feeling guilty. I was like, "Oh, no, I can't do that because of this," or and in the beginning, I didn't wanna talk to any widow. I don't know if you felt that way. I went to some grief counseling classes and I did all that, but I didn't wanna be around I don't know. I'm better now. I can do it now, and I love it. But initially, I didn't wanna be around other widows because for me, it just brought me down, and I just feel worse. But now I love it because you know why? Because 'Cause I'm reaching the thriving point. Again, you have to decide to survive and then move forward to the thrive, and I think now I'm at that point in my life where I'm thriving, and I actually really put myself out there by going on a TV show of all things. I'm like, you know how I am. I like people. I'm fun and I love being out with people, but I would never do that. Like I said, I made a decision to do it. And guess what? I'm so happy and thrilled that I did that. Who gets that, kind of opportunity come around? I would never in a million years thought that would have ever happened to me. But it did. And guess what? I did it. I can't believe it, but I did it. That's another part of this thriving part of my life. And it's going to keep going. I'm not done yet. I'm thriving. I'm moving forward more and more every day or every week, every month and I love it, and it's been really wonderful, and Jerry would be so proud of me that I'm moving forward and doing well, and I think without his love and blessings and what I've been through with him, I wouldn't be who I am today to be able to thrive like this. That's why we all have to always look at the bright side, or the happier side or the positive side. If you dig deep, you can find it, and I promise you it's so much more uplifting and your heart just feels so much better when you choose to be positive and not just keep being down all the time and again we have to be accountable to other people. We have to bring the light into their world, being a dentist, it's not you can't go in there all upset or whatever and you have to bring your best self to them. That helps too. We're so blessed to have such an amazing job. See, a lot of people look at it in a different way, but for me, it's been such a blessing. And I'm sure for you too. I know your patients love you too.
Is there anything that is coming up in Monica's life that you are having any new projects or new things that you're doing, or can you even tell us?
Oh, no. Well, I always have some things in the works that I will be able to share soon, but I'm a little bit focused now on my parents. I go almost every weekend to help take care of them, but I do. I have other things, that are coming in the future, I hope, but we'll
Mhm.
see where those things go, but I just want I want people to know that and I love if anyone wants to reach out to me or whatever, but I want them to know they're not alone and that they can do the same thing. I mean, the sky's the limit. I'm telling you, our minds and brains are much stronger than our bodies. So you just got to, it's here, you've got to have the right mindset and then you can do anything you want to do.
So where can our listeners reach out to you, or do you have social media?
Uh-huh. I'm on Instagram at Dr. Monica Parham, Parham. And then I also have a Facebook. Us oldies, we love our Facebook. The Instagram thing was kinda new for me because 'cause I'd never done that before, and actually, I'm not really that big into social media, although I've had to be with the show, which is it made me come out of that shell too. I mean, this happened, and it just made me even blossom more into a new version of myself, and then I have Facebook, it's just Monica Parham, I believe. Usually like that my dental assistant said, "Dr. Parham, you can be so boring, you have such a boring." So yeah. So anyway, this has been so great, Kim. No, I love talking to you, and I always love talking to you. You are such an amazing friend. I don't know what I'd done without you in dental school. You were like my rock. Remember our late night?
We had so much fun together
Yes,
and
we did.
dressed out together. We did a
Oh,
lot of things together. And you're very special friend to me. And always will be.
love you, honey. Mm. Yes, I
Can't
love you,
wait
honey.
to the next reunion, right?
Oh, I know. We love those reunions. We wait for those. I don't know. They're happening way too fast now. It seems. Time is ticking away fast. We gotta hop to it. And I'm glad to see you doing this, Kim. I really appreciate it. You're an amazing person, and you're helping so many people, honey, and I'm just so proud of you. I know you do great things always. Oh,
My
girl.
brain's always, like, thinking about what's next. What am
I
I
know, you've been that way your whole life since I've known you, even when you were young. I love it, Kim, you're the best. You're so creative, and you're oh my gosh, you're just the best. Oh, I remember so much, so many of our fun times. Thank goodness we have each other. Still, after all these years. I love it.
Well, we have to stay in touch, we always
Yes,
do,
honey.
and
Mhm.
this was a great interview with you. I'm so glad
Oh,
you had time to come spend with me
oh,
and
yes,
the
honey.
podcast, and
I love it.
sure our
Yeah.
listeners will really, really appreciate your story.
Oh, I hope so, honey. Yes, well, I'll be here for them, and I'll do my best I can to, get back with them if they decide to reach out, and I just want everyone to know you can do it. And I love survive and thrive. Yes, I love it.
Well, this is Live, Love, Survive, and
I
Thrive.
love it.
I'm Dr. Kimberly Hubinet, and this is Dr. Monica Parham. We're saying bye to you this time, and we'll see you on the next episode of Live, Love, Survive, Thrive.
I love it. Love you again. Bye, honey.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of Live, Love, Survive, Thrive. I hope our time together has inspired you to embrace life's challenges, find the courage to overcome obstacles, and create a life filled with love, purpose, and fulfillment. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. Your feedback means the world to me, and to help us continue to bring you stories and tools to empower your journey. And if you have a story of resilience, transformation, or thriving after adversity, I'd love to hear from you. Reach out to me directly at livelovesurvivethrive@gmail.com. You never know, your story might just be the inspiration someone else needs to hear. To learn more about me and my work, visit my website at www.drkimberlyhubinet.com. While you're there, be sure to check out my current book, Grid. Once in a lifetime, you get to start over. A guide to rebuilding and rediscovering life after loss. Get a sneak peek at my upcoming book, Live, Love, Survive, Thrive, a powerful companion to this podcast, and a heartfelt roadmap to reclaiming joy, resilience, and meaning after life's toughest seasons. You can also connect with me on social media. Follow me on Facebook at author Dr. Kimberly Hubinet, and follow me on Instagram with the same name. And subscribe to my YouTube channel at Live, Love, Survive, Thrive for more inspiration and insights. Remember, you have the power within you to write your story and thrive beyond your wildest imaginations. Keep relearning to live, love, survive, thrive every single day. Until next time, I'm Dr. Kimberly Hubinet, and this is Live, Love, Survive, Thrive.